Hi, this is Steve Benke from EcoBeeRemoval.com. We perform live removal and relocation of honeybees. Honeybees are disappearing all over the planet, something called colony collapse disorder. It could be our genetically modified foods, it could be the sprays that we have on our crops, it could be mites or viruses, or just the fact that bees are being overworked. But we do know they're disappearing. And that's bad news for us and the planet. We get 1/3 of our food from the pollination that comes from bees. What a pity it is when you have an infestation, whether it be in your house or in a tree, somewhere in your home, that the only solution is to call a pest control company to come spray them and kill them. We have another solution. And that is we come and do a live removal, carefully removing those bees to a new home, either to a beekeeper or back into nature. We also have education programs for the youth. And for anybody that wants to learn a new trade, live bee removal technician training is going on all the time here at our place in Florida. We also have wild honeybee products. We're just about the only ones that do. You can get beeswax, pollen, and wild honey. And all the monies that we gather from sales of bee products go towards our bee sanctuary, where we're studying new methodologies of saving bees, and we're rehabbing the bees that we catch now. Well, these videos are for your enjoyment and to instruct you on what your options are. Thanks for saving the bees. And stay tuned at the end of the video to find out how you can get your honey products, learn about education and bee removal, and just any questions you might have, just give us a call. Thanks. Hi, this is Steve from Eco Bee Removal, and we're standing up in a tree down here on the southwest coast, Cape Coral, Florida, and we're looking at one of the biggest tree colonies of bees that you're going to see. This thing is massive. Look how beautiful that is. Look at these faithful bees right here, all taking care of business. Here we have some uncapped honey. And look at that. Now I just smoked them a second ago to calm them down. You can see these bees sticking their heads right down in the honey. That's what they do in nature, you know, when they're going to wait something out in the forest. They're going to eat a bunch of honey to wait it out. And that's sort of what we count on with the smoke, is to calm these bees down. Now we got a phone call from these folks who stated that the lawnmower guy came and he was out here mowing and he got chased and 911 and allergic to bees and the whole 9 yards. So we weren't taking any chances. The Africanized bees, otherwise known as killer bees, which, you know, we don't like those terms really, because they don't necessarily kill anybody, but they are definitely aggressive. And the more aggressive the bees, the more you have to be careful. So be sure that you call a specialist like someone like us, especially a live bee removal person, someone that understands bees. So we're here checking out this bee colony. Look at the comb down here, below and above. Very rare that you'll see something like this. This is a super active colony. We're gonna have to be careful ourselves, but we're gonna attempt to save these bees, and that's what we do. And sort of looks like the Borg, if you know Star Trek. It looks like the Borg, you know, just one big solid brain of activity, all in unison, all of one accord. Really a beautiful thing. These are my boys. That's Eli down there and Sam, both bee catchers extraordinaire. And this is Eco Bee Removal. Now these bees we're vacuuming into a canister that we'll use later to rehome them. Normally we would like to just cut this comb with the bees on it, but we have to be super careful with the neighbors and with the aggressiveness of these bees, that we just, what we call, gain control of the situation as soon as possible. That's what you want. That's why whatever you're doing, now we don't spray bees, whether you're spraying bees or whether or not you're saving bees, it's all about getting control of the situation. Look how beautiful this honey is. This is uncapped honey. Angry bees or not, you got to appreciate the work that bees do, and do for all of us. 1/3 of all the food, 1/3 of all the food that we get on the planet, and you know, comes through the pollination of bees. So we have to take the time to save bees. Hey, a little side note. This honey is wild honey, and you can go to EcoBeeRemoval.com and bid on wild honey. That's right, you can have some of this amazing honey and pollen, and we use the money to support a bee sanctuary. So go online and get some of this super health food. Did you know it takes 1 million flowers to make 1 pound of honey? Now this is unprocessed honey, no chemicals, straight from nature to you. And I don't know of anybody that's got wild honey. So go to ecobeeremoval.com and get yours, okay? And support a good cause, saving the bees. Now as we work our way down into this pile, I'm cutting comb by comb. You can see each piece that I've cut right there. We're getting down in here where we see our capped brood. Now look down here, see these bees fanning? That's because they're dealing with this smoke right now. And they're trying to fan away the smoke. Some of the bees you can see have left the comb. Here's more uncapped honey right here, filling up their stores for the winter. And some of the bees are crawling towards the top to get away from the smoke. If you notice these bees right here eating the honey, normally they would not do that. You know, this is stores for the winter. But like I said, in nature, if say bees are in a tree or someplace, you know, they're going to eat a bunch of honey, sort of wait out a fire. Or sometimes when a bee colony is getting ready to swarm to a new location, they'll eat a bunch of honey. In either case, eating the honey sort of puts the bees into a lethargy, sort of a sugar stupor, where they're less interested in attacking and fighting and more interested in just being drunk with honey, so to speak. And that's what's happening now. A little bit of smoke has calmed these bees down, and we don't see, you know, a huge danger here. Well, of course, we're suited up, but we're not dealing with a bunch of bees attacking us right now. What was that, Sam? Change canisters? Is that what you said? Yeah. Yeah. Sam was just saying we should probably change canisters. Our bee removal vacuum has these canisters with screens, and when we get to a certain amount, we don't want the bees to heat up. So we change canisters often so that the bees are not crowding each other and then basically getting traumatized and dying. Okay, so here we see we've removed our canister from our vacuum, and we see, wow, yeah, there's already a whole lot of bees in here, and we're hardly getting started. I would say there's probably a good 80,000 bees up there. We're just getting started. Look at the comb that's being exposed right now. It's all new, beautiful, white comb. Just probably built this spring. Really, really nice. That is the state-of-the-art beauty right there. And again, this is kind of stuff that you will not find anywhere. Please go to ecobeeremoval.com and buy some of this beautiful white comb. Did you know that honey is actually bacteria-free? You can use beeswax for medicine to rub on your wounds, because bees, because they store food, they have to keep things totally germ-free, and they're one of the few insects that keep a completely sort of say antiseptic sort of scenario with food collection, and you can trust it. You can trust it. You can put that right in your mouth. The first bubble gum, actually not bubble gum, the first chewing gum was actually beeswax. So you can actually take a piece of that and stick it right in your mouth. We'll show you that a little bit later. Okay, so why don't you go up there and vacuum a little bit. Some of this orange right here is bee pollen. And that's also what you'll get when you order honey from us online. This is amazing bee pollen. Superfood, absolute superfood. When you buy a honey from the store, it doesn't have any pollen in it. The little pollen balls break off the bees as they enter into a special doorway that beekeepers, look at the pollen on that one right there. See the little balls on the feet? those little balls on the feet are formed by hairs on the bee's legs, and as the bee is going from flower to flower, it takes I don't know if I mentioned this, but it takes 1 million flower visits to make 1 pound of honey. That is called superfood. 1 million flowers in 1 pound of honey. Think about that's the next time you put a little honey on a biscuit. If that's not magic, I don't know what is. But those little pollen balls, they break off the bee's legs as they go into a conventional beekeeper's hive. Because they don't want that honeycomb filled up with pollen. They want it filled up with honey that they use a centrifuge to spin out, and then they give the honeycomb back to the bees. In the wild, that pollen gets stuffed into the cells, and that's a protein source for the bees. It's called bee bread, and you can see it right there. A little bit of that goes a long ways. If you have allergies, that's so nice. Just keep a little chunk of this in a jar and pinch off some of that and stick it in your mouth and boost your immune systems. I would be lying if I said that some of the bees aren't traumatized as they go down this tube, because they are. Like I said, this is about getting control of the situation. In our other videos, you'll see the preferable way is to cut the comb with the bees on it and lower them into a hive box. But we're in a situation with a lot of people, and we've got to be very careful. Safety is always first. We care for the bees, and we want to save the bees, but we have to keep the community safe. That's why we've elected for a quick vacuum and control of the situation, and some of the bees being traumatized is just part of the loss. Look at that! Isn't that a beautiful thing? I just can't wait to taste some of this honey. That is just awesome. Now you notice it's not capped. What happens is the bees, after processing it through their bodies, inject the cell with the honey, and then they fan their wings and concentrate it through evaporation down to what we know as honey. Nectar is more of a water-based product after it passes through the bee's body and gets placed in here. The bees fan their wings and evaporate it down to this beautiful concentrated form. Here we see this raised area is what they call capped brood. And basically what that means is that, you look down there really deeply, see in there? That is a larva that's growing. And once that larva gets to a certain size, the bees will cap it, and then the bee will complete its gestation and become a regular functioning worker bee in the community. Another beautiful piece of honey. For some lucky person that goes online, limited amount of this, I'm telling you. Limited amount. For all you foodies out there, jump on this. Not every day you get wild honey. In commercial beekeeping, you've got to be fighting mites, beetles, viruses, you name it. And how do they do it? Just like they do anything else in commercial anything. Chemicals, chemicals. And I'm not saying that bees can't visit some place where some gardener hasn't sprayed some chemicals, but if you want some pure honey, go wild, my friend, go wild. EcoBeeRemoval.com for wild honey.